Welcome to another episode of the Vanilla Podcast. Why are good friends hard to find? If I'm being honest, throughout my years, I've had different experiences of having heaps of friends, but maybe not as deep connections with them and not really having good friends. But then I've had times where I've just had a few good friends and maybe not as many friends. It's hard. I know a lot of people who struggle to find really good friends. So I feel like, boys, why do you think it's so hard to be a good friend, to find good friends?
That's a great question, Ezra. And I know we're at an age where friends are also so important to have. And you always have a desire to have friends around you, and you want to hang out with them and learn and grow, and you have so much fun with your friends. So I don't know all the answers, but I think I'm interested to kind of unpack this question a little bit more and to see what you guys think about why good friends hard to find in the world around us today, and then in the culture we live in as well.
Yeah. When you think about it, I just think about back to primary school, intermediate. It's probably one of the most desired things in primary intermediate. All kids want is to be the cool person and to have everyone be their friend. I think it's natural within us. We just want these good friends. But
Tremaine, would you say you were in the cool group in primary school?
Oh yeah, in primary I definitely was.
Why was that?
I don't know. I feel like in primary it's just I don't know. If you're kind of quick, I was kind of fast and I was kind of good at cross country. I don't know if that's probably I don't know. I just happened to be in the
Bro, claim it. If you're in the cool club, bro,
I know
just
Ezra
claim.
was Ezra always tells me that his top his peak was primary school. Was that right?
Primary was my favorite. I won cross country, so everyone just loved me. And then it just didn't go downhill, but I leveled out in intermediate.
His mum told me that once he said, "Oh, mum, I think I need to buy some sunglasses because there's some kids at school that are going to become my bodyguards." That's the cool level Ezra was on in primary school. He was going to get bodyguards.
I can tell you, everyone wanted to be my friend.
So you didn't struggle to find friends back in primary school?
I wasn't struggling. Yeah, it came easy to me. I'll be honest. In primary, at least. In primary. Yeah, but that was probably an example of I had heaps of maybe shallower friendships.
Okay.
But I was struggling to find good friends at that point. Yeah. And I remember praying about it. I didn't have great friends. And I remember going through intermediate, God, can you give me some great friends? Because it's something I desired, but not something I didn't really have at that point.
That's really...
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things we kind of talked about was one of the reasons I think it's really hard to find good friends is when you put yourself out there in a vulnerable position to become friends with someone. It's nerve-wracking going up to someone you have never met and introducing yourself and being like, "Hey, my name is Levi." Totally. And having a conversation with them and then taking a risk to go hang out with them to play basketball or spend some time in their friend group and stuff. I think it's a very vulnerable position you put yourself in initially when you first have to introduce yourself to someone.
Totally.
Yeah. Definitely agree with that.
I feel like you inevitably, if you're going to make a friend, you have to go through that awkward, getting to know them phase, which is just a seeps to go through sometimes. But it's got to be done.
Ezra, I often notice that you're quite good at meeting people. We have a young adults group that we have at your house, and you often bring people in. What are some good strategies that you do to just introduce yourself to people and get to know people?
Well, probably like a lot of people when I was growing up, this is something I struggled with. It's hard to talk to random people. But I watched people who were great at it at church and stuff like that and in my family. And something I found was just trying to get to a good conversation quickly. So asking a deep question or something right off the bat. I'm just going to shout out Stan Brown. I love that guy. But he always finds a way to just quickly go deep. And so what brought you here? I don't know. It's going deeper rather than just... So maybe surface level all the time. Yeah. What about you guys? Would you guys say you're good at it?
I think I have a natural strength of connecting with lots of different people, and I love meeting new people. But I am guilty of having that surface level conversation. I actually like small talk, surprisingly.
Everyone enjoys it.
So I enjoy that small talk, but as Ezra said, I have a lot of friends that can be quite surface level sometimes, and I do struggle to go deeper because I love meeting so many people. And one of the reasons I do struggle to find good friends is because sometimes I'm not willing to go that little bit deeper as well.
Yeah. I think there's strengths to both, having smaller talk and deeper talk. Tremaine is probably one of the most incredible people at having deep chat. Like we'll have yarns. We'll go banter as well, but like Tremaine will go deep. He loves it. Why is that?
I feel, I guess like it stimulates my brain a bit more. I guess like that's just how I think, and I enjoy these chats, and I think it depends. I reckon what you just said, banter is super important. Like you have to have like a giggle with someone to be on like a good level. And I don't know, you can't force friendships as well. You know, I've had a few times in my life where I've wanted a friendship and I thought, oh, you know, that's quite a cool person. I want to be friends with that person, and that never works out. Like you can't force a friendship. You have to just let it naturally happen. And if it happens, it happens. And it can be quite a beautiful thing when it happens, because like you turn around one day and it's like, oh shoot, yeah, like that is a really good friend of mine. Like we have really good chats, and like they build me up. They make me a better person, and it's quite a truly awesome thing when a great friendship happens.
Totally.
That's really good. And I think what you said, you have to make time for people as well to have a good friendship. And one of the things I realize these days is we all are in the same friend group, and even recently we've been trying to organize a date to all catch up, and there's 7 or 8 of us in the group, and it's just like this person can't make it this day, and I'm guilty of that as well because I've got something on and we live such busy lives. But if you're not intentional about it, it just doesn't work. But it's just everyone's got so many things on these days.
Totally. I had a crazy theory a while ago that this could totally, tell me if I'm wrong, but sometimes you can try as hard as you want, but you're naturally going to be better friends with some people and unnaturally be closer friends with other people. Like, I think sometimes I've had friendships when it's like, no, I don't want to let this friendship go, and I keep persisting, but it's just like you try to plan stuff and it just never happens. But with some friends, it's just easy. Like, I don't know if that's God or that's just the way it is, but I feel like friendships sometimes aren't intentional. Like, it just happens. Do you guys agree with that, or is it more intentional?
Yeah. I think if you want something to work, you can make it work. And I think it comes back to the shared experiences. So I think there is a bit of a mix between, I know what my brother always says. He goes, what are you bringing to the friendship? So he goes, are you bringing value to the friendship? And I do agree in the sense that I think there's friends that naturally come into your life for a season, but I think if you're intentional with making friends and you're intentionally hanging out and doing things that supports them and cheers them on, and joint, I think especially for boys as well, if you have joint hobbies, so if you both like basketball, if you both like sport, like all 3 of us have always connected over sport, and because of that we've been good friends. So I'm guessing if, say, like we're all really good, we all enjoy sports, if we got really good friends with someone that hated sports, it might not work out.
That's tough sometimes.
Yeah.
I feel like actually Tremaine is very, very good at it. Like Tremaine, low key, if I think off the top of my head, you probably have the best good friendships out of anyone I know. You have like maybe 5 or 6 like really good friendships.
Okay.
How's it done?
What's the secret formula?
And you've been in those friendships for a while as well.
And different friendships as well.
Yeah, you're good with it, lad.
One thing that I do that I just like mixed up, I got really sick of like texting people. So this sounds stupid. But I call a lot of friends, if I want to catch up. I had one mate where I just call him just to catch up. And at first he found it a bit weird, and then I think he felt guilty about it. Like he wasn't doing it to me, so like he would start calling me, and he's like, I was like, oh, like why you've called? And he's like, I've just called to catch up. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. And then like before you know it, I reckon just like this generation, like texting just doesn't cut it. Like when you've got someone on the phone with you, you can have like a good yarn for like 20 minutes or something, and just like have a good laugh. And it's like I reckon that's done wonders for my friendships, and it's pretty cool when you have like when you build it, but it just takes time and a lot of effort, and I think I've just found that I do really value connections with people and building good friendships and stuff, but I'm also very selective on who I'm friends with, because I think it's really like yeah, you should really care a lot about that. Yeah.
Do you think it's good, as you said, being selective with friends, to have categories, or I want my friends to be, you know, like good character, these kind of lists, let's say, but then can you be too judgmental on, oh, the friend doesn't tick these, I meet someone, they don't tick these boxes, therefore they can't be my friend? Do you think that's a good thing to have?
Yeah, I've got this saying that I think everyone's got their thing. Like everyone, like I always, it sounds bad, but like even my friends, I'm like, there's always just one thing that can just like kind of trigger me.
What's my thing?
I'm not gonna say it.
Say it
But
to
everyone
me.
is just
With
like,
your chest.
but then I remember saying this to someone. It's like, it sounds so bad. I've got one thing that they probably don't like as well. Like that's just the reality of being human. Like we've all got we've all got a trait or something like that could probably be annoying to someone, maybe not everyone, but yeah, and that's life, you know.
So you're saying that we shouldn't have any categories, but we should just meet someone how they are, and
Nah, okay, I'm not saying that.
Okay.
I don't think I'm saying that because there is some red flags big time with friends. Some people are just not healthy people, and they're not really there to build you up. They can be a bit of a narcissist. Yeah. Would you agree?
Yeah. I feel like I've been pretty lucky. Like I found, I mean, maybe it's not luck. I mean, maybe it is. I don't know. Being at church, there's a lot of good people. Like there's just good people to be friends with. So I'm fortunate that I've found such great people to be friends with that are, you know, life-bringing and stuff like that. Because it's so true. Like, show me your 5 closest friends, I'll show you your future. Bro, like, I've found times, even if it's at school, if it's the wrong people who hang around for too long, I'm pretty firm in my faith in what I do. But I'll notice slowly I start going in that direction, you know? So, yeah, I think it is good to have a checklist of like, you know, these are the traits I want in a good friend, and I'm going to decide to spend more time with these people because they have these things. Yeah.
Do you reckon that quote, that opposites attract, now that's maybe in a relationship side, but even with friends, do you reckon in friendships opposites attract or similarities attract?
I don't know. Like, it's funny how in relationships, like romantic relationships, we were just talking about this the other day, I think. But like, if people in romantic relationships are different, opposites attract, like they always do. But if they're the same person, it's like, oh, you have so many similarities. I know. Of course it
They
works.
just make it work.
They just make it work for whatever, you know? I think it's a mix. I think you need to have some similar hobbies and stuff like that. If you're just different people, it's hard. What do you guys reckon?
Yeah, I agree. I think similar hobbies you have to do. Like, one of the things with me and Ezra is we've been friends for a long time.
We have been.
And Ezra got into basketball, and I remember making a conscious decision that was like, Ezra's into basketball, he's one of my good friends. If I want to continue this friendship, I gotta learn some more about basketball though. It was, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
And it meant a lot because now me and Levi can have a good yarn about the NBA.
I don't know much anymore. I've kind of dived in my knowledge, but I like that. You know, you gotta put the work in sometimes with your friendships.
Yeah, totally. You know, like I tell you what, we'll just talk about maybe some of the friends like Quinn, Jordan, John T. Like those boys all go surfing. Tremaine goes surfing as well. I don't know anything about surfing. I cannot surf to save my life. But I'll try and engage in the conversation and try to relate about they're in the barrel or it's this huge wave, 6-foot wave. I'm starting to understand it a little bit, so I can get it a bit more. Yeah.
But do you think that Tremaine can better connect with them because he surfs? Do you find you connect with those friends a bit better, Tremaine, because you're a surfer, you enjoy a hobby?
Yeah, like when you have those like similar grounds. I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes maybe it's putting yourself out of your comfort zone. Are we too stuck in the lane?
Yeah.
What I want to do, 'cause these are my hobbies.
Yeah. No, I think you need to relate. But it's also hard. You don't want to change who you are for someone. I think, like in a relationship, you got to have the fundamental things. Like I think if you have a commonality, if you all share the same faith, like we're all God fearing. That's a great one, and you can be different. But if you're all God fearing, I feel like it's a great similarity. But then for us three, we're all sporty. Yeah, that's probably it. Like, God fearing is can't think of anything else.
If you feel that, you're in.
Love podcasting, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. One of the things I've realized that one of the reasons it's hard to find good friends these days is, and one of the reasons we wanted to do a podcast, we all talked about it in our first episode, but the reason we wanted to do a podcast is because we had to be intentional and make something exciting and do something we enjoy together. But sometimes during these days, we just go beyond our own business, go to work, do our own thing, and we don't have hobbies and intentional times to hang out. That's what I was reckoning.
Yeah. Honestly, I've never given it that much thought, but yeah, if I suddenly have different similarities to someone, I feel like I would maybe drift a little bit from them. But I feel like it's a great point. I feel like you can put in effort and kind of start to build the similarities and find something you both enjoy to keep the friendship going. But yeah, what do you reckon, Jermaine?
Okay, this is just like an interesting thing I've heard. I'm just gonna go off on a different.
Spit it.
I was listening to a podcast today, and it was talking about like that our generation is actually one of the most like loneliest generations for connection. And I don't know, like the guy was this like old as dude that I listened to, and he was just saying that he thinks it's because we're like behind a screen and we're actually not like fully connecting with people. It's like we're actually like connecting in an unhealthy way, so with friendships and stuff. So it is quite interesting, like just wondering, why is that when we're supposedly so connected, that we're so unconnected at the same time. So
that's a great point. Yeah, I feel like something that actually really helped our friendship a little bit with us three was, I don't know if you guys remember, but something that really helped me was we were at Point View, and we all opened up just about like things that we're maybe struggling with or dealing with. Do you guys remember it? We were sitting in the car.
Yeah, that was like 2 years ago.
Yeah, it was 2 years ago. But that wasn't the first time I really like experienced just like maybe opening up with the boys, and that's what. Like I think that's real connection, because I think surface level, it's great, but getting deeper with your friends and like having that real connection, that's what really builds a friendship. Yeah.
I think it's not worth just doing surface level forever. You know what I mean? You're like, I'm gonna put myself out there if I, have a friend, but ultimately it was like you do it, and then these words like, I'll back you no matter what, and that was really really cool.
Yeah, that consistency of like backing you as well. It's not like, I'll just back you and we're like boys for a hot minute and then just turn around and we're not anymore. It's like, like I'm always here for you, like, being present with you, and just always showing up for you,
And I feel like going deep is sometimes understood differently by people. Like, a lot of people might think deep. I used to think this, but just chatting about like, which girl are you into right now? Or that is good stuff to chat about, but I don't know, really going into what you're dealing with right now, or how your relationship with God is really going, or what's in your mind, and really opening up with someone. And that's probably only a smaller group of people I've found, maybe 2 or 3 people, but it makes the world of a difference to really make a good friend.
Isn't it funny, like, because you said at the start of the podcast, it's something that I really value. Maybe that's why I have good friendships, because I really just demand it. like I really do. Like, if we want a good friendship, like we just has to be honest and real, like, and like, like maybe that is a good key to just be honest, be real, and if they pick up and if they're cool with it, you get the same vibes, it can really grow something.
But I think all us humans have a desire not to be honest sometimes as well. I think even sometimes I'm guilty of it. It's like, why did you not want to be honest in a moment? It's like that.
Well, it's like everyone's got like themselves, and then they've got a perception of how they're viewed to the world, in a sense, So you've got yourself, you know who you are inside. And then you've got a perception of how you are to the world. Sorry, we're having some technical difficulties. I think that's sweet, eh?
I think that should be all good.
Okay. And it's, with that is just like,
I like that you said you have yourself, but then you have a perceived perspective of how the world sees you.
Yeah. And just with that perspective, you don't want to, in a sense, like to get in good connection with people, you have to kind of put that perception down for a second. In a sense, I feel like we should be trying to get rid of that perception as well and just live out authentically. But life can really make you put some walls up and some barriers up and some masks up. But yeah, I feel like when you put that down a bit and just let people in, maybe in a safe way with boundaries, with healthy boundaries.
Yeah.
I think something pretty cool can happen.
Yeah, totally. This will be a whole nother discussion, but you kind of touched on like perception of yourself. And I've thought so much recently about identity and like what stuff that you think about yourself and you just call yourself. Like, I don't know, I'm not good at conversation, or I'm not a good friend, or I'm not good at public speaking. Sometimes you can just say this stuff over yourself, this perceived perception of yourself, but it's just fully untrue. But because you say it over yourself, it starts becoming true. Doesn't really have to do with friendship, but I think it's just a pretty crazy thing.
I think in friendship we often try and it's interesting then because I just kind of contradicted myself a little bit. But you don't want to be in a position where you're always trying to prove yourself. You don't want to be like, I'm trying to prove to my friends that I'm a good friend, but you want to be bringing value to them. But you don't want to be in a position where, as Tremaine said, the perceived perception is that if I don't prove myself, they won't accept me. But you want to be in a position that you can enjoy and bring your strengths and their strengths, but not always worrying that if you have a bad day or if you do something that they're not going to accept me because of.
I think that's a really good point for what you're laying down, Levi. Like you have, like, it sounds selfish, but to get good friends, you actually have to do a bit of inner work, and you have to make sure that you're a good friend to yourself. Because like it or not, the way you treat yourself and the way is gonna be the way you treat others. Is that biblical? Treat others.
Yeah.
Treat others as you want to be treated.
Yeah. Love God, love people, and love yourself. That kind of concept.
Love others as as yourself. Yeah, it's kind of like that. Like you have to be like, I just feel like you have to be investing in yourself, and you have to be in a space, where you're coming from a place of already love, not trying to get it from friendships and things like that. And it's easier said than done. Like it's been a process for me. I'm sure you guys probably. Yeah. Everyone growing up.
Yeah. I feel like a great place to find that love and to find yourself is from God. Yeah. And it's, the best way to find it. I think you're going to fail no matter what. If you're looking for your purpose and stuff in friends or even in a relationship, like, I think they're there to help find your purpose in friendship. That's what friendships are for. But you're not going to find your purpose in a friendship.
Yeah. I also want to make sure, I remember Ezra saying in our first podcast that we never want to be someone that brings all the answers. And so I just want to also say that I think, like, you never arrive. Like, I still haven't fully, like, I don't fully understand all that stuff as well. You know what I mean? I'm still going through a process of, like, learning, how to be a good friend to myself and how to be a good friend to others, and going through that journey together. So I'm also like, hey, if you're listening, you're like, I'm not there yet. I don't think any of us are there yet perfectly yet as well.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Sure. No. I think it's something we're always improving on. We're never perfect at it, but we're striving for it. For sure.
That's good though.
Should we wrap it up there?
Let's do it.
Yeah. That's the first episode of the Vanilla Podcast.